Hello everyone, good evening. So here we are back with our another learning session on accounting, and our today's topic is one of the most fundamental and crucial topic when we talk about understanding the concepts of accounting or analyzing the financial statements. And the topic is current assets versus non-current assets. Now, what we learn in our today's session. So we'll understand what is the meaning of current asset as well as what is the meaning of non-current assets. Besides this, we'll also look after what are the various components which forms part of current and non-current assets. Now, starting with the first slide, which is about current assets. We'll look after what is the meaning of current assets and what are its various components. So as you can see in the slide, at the top there is a definition, and below that there's a chart which depicts the various components of current assets. So now this definition is looks quite big and difficult to understand, but no worries, we'll break this down to make it easily understandable. Now I'm we'll first read out this definition. So it says current assets are cash and other assets which are expected to be converted into cash or consumed in the production of goods or rendering of services in the normal course of business. Now, to make it easily understandable, let's break this definition into two parts. So the first part is cash and other assets which are expected to be converted into cash. Now, what is cash? So let's say you are having a 100 rupees note or 500 rupees note in your pocket. So that represents your cash. So it is your cash in hand. Besides that, maybe you are having a bank account, let's say in HDFC Bank or State Bank of India. So you are having a certain amount which is forming part of your bank account. So that also represents cash. So it's generally called cash at bank. Now, besides this, it says other assets which are expected to be converted into cash. So let's take an example. You are owner of a departmental store. Now you are having various grocery items and other products which you generally sell. So these products are your stock of goods which you generally sell, and when these products are sold, it is converted into cash. So anything other than cash which can be easily converted into cash is part of current asset. Now, this was the first part. I hope you got that. The important aspect which this current asset talks about is cash. So the second, now coming on to second part of this definition, it says consumed in the production of goods or rendering of services in the normal course of business. Now here it talks about production, services. Now what it is all about? So let's say you are a like businessman, you are having a factory or a manufacturing unit. Maybe we can take an example. You are a manufacturer of a door handle. Now this door handle is made of brass. Now what you do, you purchase raw material in the form of raw brass. You melt that down. You give shape to that to the brass through a machinery into the final product, and then you sold this door handle in the market. And when it is sold, it is converted into cash. So now this is this is the whole chain wherein you are having a raw material. It is converted into finished goods as part of your normal business activity and then converted into cash. So everything, as you can see here, is and around cash or anything which can be converted into cash. So this way we can also link the second part of the definition with the first part. Similarly, when we talk about rendering of services, now maybe you can take example of a restaurant. So let's say I go to a restaurant, I order some food, I pay you for that, and I consume that food. So now the food which I ordered, that is, that is the stock which you're having, and you are rendering me services in the form of restaurant. You're providing me facility to have food. Now you see, so your services are converted into cash, and that is part of a normal business cycle. So to sum up this definition, what we can say, that anything which is cash or convertible into cash And in the normal business course, normal business period is current asset. It can be your stock, it can be your bank balance, anything else. Now here one important thing to note is the time period which we are talking about here in current assets is always short period, maybe 4 months, 5 months, 6 months, but up to 12 months. It is generally the time period which is involved in current asset. So I hope you got to know something about what is the meaning of current asset. Now we'll come to the various components and the concept of current assets. You will be able to understand with better clarity with the help of these components and the related example. So generally when we talk about components of current assets, it has 6 parts. Number one is current investments. So let's say you are having a fixed deposit in a bank for a period of 6 months, 8 months, or maybe you see there is generally in the corporate world, generally business houses invest for a short period of time to manage their working capital. So let's say for 15 days, 1 month. So such kind of investments form part of current assets. Next, inventories. As told earlier as well, the various examples, stock in hand. So the inventory means basically the stock in hand. Stock would be of raw material, the brass, which we the recent example which we discussed in the case of manufacturing unit, or maybe the stock of finished goods. So a departmental store is having stock of various groceries. That is part of inventories. Or there may be stock of work in progress. So let's say you are a manufacturing unit. So there is some stock you're having in the form of raw material. There is some stock you're having in the form of finished goods. But there will also be some stock which will be in the which is neither in the form of raw material, which is in the process of manufacturing. So that is that is also called semi-finished goods. So that is also part of current assets. Now third component is trade receivables. So these are debtors basically. So you have made certain sales. Now the cash from these sales is yet to be realized. So so basically you have given a credit period to the buyer of let's say 15 days or 30 days. So now these trade receivables are expected to be converted into cash within next 15 or 30 days. So again, it is a part of current assets. Now cash and cash equivalents generally means cash in hand or cash in your bank account. Now short-term loans and advances. Maybe you have given a loan to your friend or some other business entity for shorter period of time, let's say 1 month, 2 months. So these form part of short-term loans and advances under current assets. Now the last component is other current assets. Now, so you see, we have till now understood 5 heads: current investment, inventory, trade receivables, cash and cash equivalent, and short-term loans and advances. Now anything which is for a shorter period of time but not classifiable under these 5 heads is classified under under other current assets. So I hope you got to know what are the various concepts, various components of current assets, and the concept is quite clear. So now you see, from the exam perspective or from learning perspective, you don't have to, like do rote learning for understanding these concepts. These are the basically, the concept of current asset is generally, the part of your routine life. So anything which is for a shorter period and can be converted into cash. So the classification may be different heads. So once you go through them once or twice, you will easily remember these components. So I hope the concept is clear. And now we'll move on to next slide, another concept which is non-current assets. So to generally say, in a common man, I would say, or maybe in the simple words, what I would say, anything which is other than current asset is non-current asset. So if let's say there is something called X which cannot be classified as current asset, then it would be non-current asset. But we cannot say that like always. So we have to go something into technical, and we have to understand what is the conceptual background behind non-current assets. So non-current assets are assets which are generally acquired or invested by the company for a longer period of time. So as mentioned in current asset, the time period is for shorter period, 4, 5, 6 months, but up to 12 months, or the general business operating cycle. So anything which is beyond that is for a long term. So long term here also covers the medium term. So anything which is acquired, so maybe you have a manufacturing unit, as in a previous example. So you have machinery, you have factory building. So these are all are acquired for the purpose of long term. So you are not having any plans to sell them in the near future, right? So if you set up a manufacturing unit, you will run. So you set up a manufacturing unit till the at the age of 30. So you expect that it will long last for at least next 30-40 years. So I am again repeating, non-current assets are assets which are acquired or invested into by the company for long term and whose value is not expected to be realized in the short term. So that is, you are not expecting to sell that or realize that in the form of cash in the shorter period of time. So that's all the concept of non-current asset. It is really simple. So anything which is opposite of current is non. Now coming on to various components of non-current assets. There are 7 components we need to understand. So as I told, anything which is opposite of current is non-current. So similarly, we look up here. We look out first, we look out for the common thing. So in the current asset, we said about current investments. So the opposite is non-current investment. So I made a fixed deposit in a bank, let's say for a period of 5 years. So that is a non-current investment. That is for a period of 5 years, and I cannot redeem that immediately into cash. We talk about short-term loans and advances. I gave loan for a longer period, let's say 3 years, 5 years. So let's say I want to buy a house. I take a loan from bank of rupees 20 lakhs for a period of 5 years. Now that is for a longer period of time. So that is long-term loans and advances, right? So this is the common component. Now the other components which form part of non-current assets are property, plant and equipment. So similar to what we talked about in the previous example, we said that you are having a, let's say you are having a factory. So in your factory, in your manufacturing facility, you would be having a building. You would be first having a land. On that, you would have constructed a building. You would be having various machinery for converting raw material of brass into the finished product to give it shape, or like do polish and other various manufacturing activities. So now that property, plant and various equipments are non-current assets because you are not trading into them. You are buying them for the purpose of you are running your business. Next is intangible assets. Now these intangible assets are those assets which you cannot touch. They are not in the physical form. They are like, let's say, a brand name. So today when we talk about you're using WhatsApp, you're using Facebook, these all are brand names. These are the trademarks. So there's a logo of Twitter, there's a logo of Facebook, there's a logo of Instagram. These are their trademarks. So you cannot touch them. You only use them, you feel them, right? So these are the brand names. So when we talk about from the perspective of Facebook, who owns Instagram and who owns WhatsApp. So these are the intangible assets, because if there is no WhatsApp, there is no Instagram, then what will Facebook run? So this is the primary business activity. So through these, it is earning the revenue. So these are the intangible assets which cannot be touched, right? Similarly, let's say you are a very good book writer. You have written a book. You get that copyright. So the copyright which you have done is your intangible asset, right? Next is capital work in progress. So this is something related to property, plant and equipment. So when we talk about buildings, when we talk about machinery, when we talk about land, so let's say you are having a manufacturing facility A. You want to establish another manufacturing facility called B. Now that you have purchased the land, you have started construction of building, but as on the date of making my books of account, finalizing my books of account, I am preparing my profit loss account, I am preparing my balance sheet. This building, this manufacturing facility is yet not completed. It is still under process. It is still under process of building. So it is my asset. It is my non-current asset. It is a part of property, plant and equipment, but it has not been developed completely. It is still under development. So that is capital work in progress. So maybe building under progress, or any getting any sophisticated machinery design specifically assembled for you. So that is also capital work in progress. Now, similar to this, like capital work in progress is linked to property, plant, and equipment. The next component, intangible assets under development, is linked to intangible assets. So, as what I mentioned in capital work in progress, that the building or the plant is under development. Similarly, intangible asset is under development. So maybe you are doing any kind of research, right? So let's say a very common example, very example related to recent time. So you are aware that COVID came in 2019. When it came, everything come to a standstill. Now, the scientists, the various companies, the pharmaceutical companies were thinking about vaccination of this COVID-19 disease. So when they started doing research, the vaccine was not completely developed, right? But they were doing research into that. Now, if I'm a company X, right? So the company X is doing research on how to develop the COVID vaccine. So that is the research is almost under the completion state, right? But it has yet not been completed. So once this vaccination is made, I will get it patented because it is my own special formula which I have developed. Now, till the time that formula is completely derived, it is under development. So that's what we call intangible assets under development. I hope you are clear with the concept of all these various components of non-current assets. Now coming on to other non-current assets, the last part. So similarly, when we talked about anything which is not classifiable under the above heads is classified as non-current asset. So let's take example. In current asset, there is a component called trade receivables, which we generally talk about debtors. The debtors are generally for a shorter period of time. Now let's say your debtor has not paid you for more than 12 months. There may be any business emergency, or maybe you have given him extended credit period. Now, since it is for a longer period of time, it can be classified as non-current asset. Why? Because it is neither property, plant, equipment, it is neither intangible asset, it is neither capital work in progress, it is neither intangible asset under development, it is neither non-current investment, or it is neither long-term loans and advances. So it is basically the residual clause. When we are unable to classify anything under the specific heads, you classify it under a residual head, right? So this is the overall concept of current and non-current asset. I hope everything is clear to you. In case you have any doubt, you may put your doubt in the chat box and we'll discuss. So I guess no one has any doubt. Perfect. Now, moving on to most interesting part of this learning session, when we do a Q&A session. So here I have certain questions in front of me. I'll speak up those questions. So what you have to do, you have to, on the basis of whatever we have discussed, you have to write down the answers of these questions. And then at the once all these I complete the reading of all these questions, we discuss the answers. Now, first question. Trademark of Facebook is a current asset. True or false? I'm repeating the question. So trademark of Facebook is a current asset. So I hope you all are writing the answers in your notebook so that we can discuss, or maybe you can also put the right answer in the chat box. Second question. Stock of semi-finished goods is classifiable as dash. It may be current, it may be non-current asset. You have to just write down the right answer. Stock of semi-finished goods is classifiable as dash. Third question. Fixed deposits with HDFC Bank is which type of asset? fixed deposits with HDFC Bank is which type of asset? And the last question, factory under construction is classifiable as dash under non-current assets. You have already got the hint in this question that it is a non-current asset. Now you have to identify the component. Factory under construction is classifiable as dash under non-current assets. Okay. So I hope you all have written the answers. And now we'll discuss one by one. First question, trademark of Facebook is a current asset. So trademark, is it a tangible or intangible asset? It is an intangible asset. So the first guess is trademark. So trademark, you'll see it is you cannot touch, you cannot feel. So this is one of the like kind of guess, or maybe this is one of the keyword which will help you identify the right answer. So trademark is not a current asset. It is a intangible asset. An intangible asset is non-current asset. So trademark of Facebook is a current asset. Answer is false. No, it is a current asset. It is a non-current asset. Second question. Stock of semi-finished goods is classifiable as. So stock of semi-finished goods. What is semi-finished goods? Goods, it is neither raw material, it is neither finished. So it is in the process of manufacturing. So once it is completed, the manufacturing is completed, it will be sold in the market. So I mean, this is the key criteria. So you understand what is semi-finished goods. So this is the keyword, and another is stock. So stock means inventory. So inventory means automatically the current asset. So you see such kind of questions, when they come in the exam, they have the hidden answers or hidden implications within themselves. So if you are having the understanding of the concept, you will be able to guess the able to give the answer correctly and score full marks. Third question, fixed deposit with HDFC Bank is which type of asset? Now here the question is quite tricky. So fixed deposit, let's say I have done a fixed deposit for a period of 6 months. It will be correct. But I have done a fixed deposit 5 years. It is a non-current asset. Now, what to do in such kind of questions? So whenever such kind of questions come in the form of MCQ, then you have to choose non-current asset, because fixed deposits are generally done for a longer period of time. That's why they are fixed, right? So in that case, the answer would be the non-current asset. But when you have a answer, you have to give an answer in the descriptive form. So you will say fixed deposits are generally classifiable as non-current assets if they are held for a period of more than 12 months. However, if they are held for a period of less than 12 months, then they are classifiable as current assets. Now coming on to the last question. Factory under construction is classifiable as dash under non-current assets. Now the first guess is complete. The first classification is complete. That is, it is a non-current asset. So you have to just identify which component of non-current asset. Now non-current asset has property, plant and equipment. So is it property, plant and equipment? No, because it is under construction. It is yet not been completed. It is neither long-term loans and advances. It is neither long-term investment, but it is under construction. So under construction means under development. So it is capital work in progress. So factory under construction is classifiable as capital work in progress under non-current assets. So I hope you all have got your answers correct. If not, then no worries. Just understand the concept again, revise it, and you will be able to crack this very easily. Now let's just summarize. So what we studied, what we learned in today's session is, we understood first what is the meaning of current assets. We understood what the definition that anything in cash or easily convertible into cash, maybe consumed in the process of manufacturing, is current asset. Similarly, the various components, trade receivables, stock, maybe raw material, semi-finished or finished goods, short-term loans, advances, short-term investments, etc. Similarly, we understood what is the meaning of non-current assets. Anything other than current and held for a longer period of time, that is generally more than 1 year, is non-current assets. And similarly, we understood its concepts as well: the property, plant, and equipment, capital work in progress, intangible assets under development, non-current investments, non-current long-term advances, loans and advances, and other non-current assets. So I hope you got to understand the concept of current as well as non-current assets, which will help you further as we go deep in the accountancy as a subject. So hope to see you again in our another learning session. Till then, bye bye, good night, take care.